Okay, let's do it for realsies. I've got another drawing board here, and I've got my little cheat sheet. This is the original one. You know, I've told you before that oftentimes what I'll do is I'll work out my designs, starting first with, just like rough sketches. Then I'll work something out to make it as simple for you guys to follow as possible. And then I'll really darken the lines so that then I can go over, I can trace it, and you can see here, this is pretty much the exact same thing. And that's how I'll get a nice clean piece of paper to do my finished drawing on without all the extra lines that we're about to create. Okay, well, good enough. So here we go with a fresh piece of paper. And I'm going to just put a little piece of tape on it just to kind of tack things down a little bit to make it just that much easier for me. That way it's not moving around. Okay, here is the vanishing point on the one side. Here's the vanishing point on the other side. As you can see, it's somewhat off the paper. Okay. Here is my horizon line. And, I'll draw a little bit dark so you guys can see it well. Normally, I would draw much lighter than this. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I've got my vanishing point here. I've got this just dead center in here. That's my 1 point perspective vanishing point. And just to make this really simple, I'm just going to go to the corners. Nothing magical about that. I'm just making it easy for you guys to follow. So here we go. My line to there, and my line to the other corner. All right, I'm going to draw up a little bit. Once again, nothing magic about where I drew this up. I'm just getting it off the edge of the paper. And like I say, I've kind of worked out my design already, so I kind of know where I'm going with this. Okay, so the next thing we'd have to do is we'd have to turn this into a square, as we've done before. So I'm going to go all the way to my vanishing point over here. Remember, this is my field of vision, which is very important. And I'm going to go from here to the corner down here. Okay. I could go all the way, but that's not necessary. Okay, and so that's giving me the length of the square. If I did the same thing on the other side, since these were even, it's going to put it right here. Okay. All right, all good. And so I should be able to just draw right down the center as well. Okay, perfect. Here and here. Okay, so this shouldn't be that unfamiliar. We've just got our nice, good one perspective square. Cool. And the squares are so neat because once you've got a square, you've got a real measure or a unit of measure. But we want to turn this thing. Now, very easily, if you were doing a 2-point perspective, I could just go from one end here and back, maybe from here and back, so forth and so on. But we want to be able to turn this thing in space a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to divide this square up much in the same way as I divided this square up. Okay. So I'm just going to go across here. All right. There. And all this is just giving me my measured points. That's all that's doing. And I'm going to divide it up again. Okay, so I can go here and here and here and here. All right. And if I've done everything well, these should line up pretty good. You see how everything just kind of lined up right there and right here. And, you know, if yours isn't perfect, that's okay, as long as it's close. If it's close, it's probably good enough. It's probably right. If it's just like way not close, it's probably really wrong. Oh, by the way, do you see? Here's a square at a right angle to us. Okay, got to get this here and this one here. Okay, I could go from here to here, you see? So here's the center and here's 1 over. Here's the center, it's 1 over. So I could go from here to here, and I could go from here to over here. I could go from here to over here, and I could go from here to here. See, it's always 1 past the center. Okay, moving clockwise, always 1 past the center. Okay, so let me make that just a little bit darker, although I'm not going to keep this one. I'm going to erase this one here in just a second. I just wanted you to see that. And as you'll see, this one, if I line this one up here, okay, right back here to my vanishing point, and this one right here, right back here to my vanishing point, look, they came to a point, didn't they? So I can go here and here. I don't want to draw too dark because I'm about to erase these. Okay, and you'll see why in just a second. But you can see that that square there went back to the vanishing point here. Well, it did here. But what about this end? This is also getting narrower, right? But where did it go exactly? Well, who knows, right? It goes off here and off here somewhere. And actually, we could trace this. If we had a big old long ruler, we could trace it all the way in, you know, out here, off far, far, far to the left somewhere, and we would find the point for this one. But we don't need to, because we've got these points right here, and that's done it for us. Okay. So I'm going to make a cube out of this, or at least a box. And so with this angle here, I found when I was practicing for this that it made it a little bit difficult. So let me get rid of all the lines that I don't really need anymore. Okay, good enough. We can see we're just back to how we were. And so if you saw on this, you know, I showed you how we could do that one square, right? Just one to another, but how we could even do more degrees. In fact, anywhere on here. It's like a circle. You could turn it anywhere, anywhere, around on here, no problem. Okay, so let's show you that a little bit. So what if I was just to move this over a little bit? So I'm going to just take this little section right here and divide it in half. And if I wasn't sure about my measurements, well, you know, I could measure it. Okay, but that looks pretty good. So that's 1 over from the center, 1 over from the center. Okay, keep it right there, Bobby. And so it's just in between these two places. Then I'll just cut that in half, so right there. Okay. And so then on this side, here's the center. So we're going to go 1 over right there, right in the center. And then this one's over here. Here's the middle. So we'll just go and divide that in half. Okay. So you can see here's the center lines. And so I just went half over, half over, half over, and half over. Okay. So pretty good. Why don't I go ahead and use a ruler on this one? Because we're going to keep this one. Okay. We've got this. And this. And here. And here. Okay, so I'll darken these a little bit so you can really see them. So you can see once again, these are going to line up with a vanishing point. Okay, so there's the vanishing point for that. You see, comes to the same vanishing point. And we'll just keep those. Okay, because that point's going to be important here in just a minute. Alrighty. So let's get rid of all the lines we don't need because we're going to turn this now into a cube. Okay.